offering our gratitude for knowledge, offering our gratitude for every moment where we are able to breathe, think, feel, be, and enjoy the beauty of this universe, this body, this miracle called life.
आपका आवाज बहुत कम आ रहा है. You are barely audible.
अच्छा. Okay, maybe better now.
Yeah, for us it's okay. It's perfect.
Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara, Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Akhanda Mandalakaram Vyaptam Yena Characharam Tatpadam Darshitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Wonderful. So it's always good when someone new shows up in the group, क्योंकि हम यही बात, एक ही बात है, बात एक ही है, एक ही बात है. अब 1.5-2 साल से वही बात मैं कह रहा हूं. वही की वही बात, हर टाइम जब मिलते हैं बात वही है, एक ही बात है. और अभी ये 1.5 साल में अभी जो लोग हैं जो हमारे साथ है आज, most of you have been there with me almost this entire journey of 1.5 years. तो ना सिर्फ वही बात है, लोग भी वही. एक.
मैं तो नहीं हूँ.
अच्छा, आप नहीं है.
पुरुषोत्तम जी भी बहुत नए हैं.
पुरुषोत्तम जी भी नए. या बोलो. हाँ, अनम्यूट.
हो नहीं रहा.
हाँ, गो अहेड.
बात बोलने के लिए वही है और एक ही बात बोल रहे हैं, लेकिन समझ बहुत आगे बढ़ रही है.
समझ
बहुत बढ़ रही है हर किसी की.
करेक्ट.
और उसका एक एग्जांपल मैं देना चाहता हूँ.
हाँ, गो अहेड.
आपने लास्ट टाइम में एक मेडिटेशन करवाया था.
हाँ.
और मेडिटेशन करवाते समय बताया कि वो आप इंस्ट्रक्शन गाइड कर रहे थे, तो गाइड करते करते इंस्टेड ऑफ ब्रिंगिंग योर अवेयरनेस टू द ऑब्जेक्ट, ब्रिंग इट टू द सब्जेक्ट. एक्सपीरियंसर पे
ऑफ एक्सपीरियंस, राइट.
तो ये जो आपने इंस्टा मेडिटेशन भी जो इन्वेंट किया या जो भी आया आपके पास, और जिस ढंग से आपने एकदम शॉर्ट में वहां तक पहुंचने के लिए रास्ता बताया, तो मुझे भी एक आइडिया है कि ये ऐसे ही पैरेलल एक आइडिया हो सकता है. और जिससे मैं कुछ मतलब वो ट्रायल कर भी रहा हूँ, मतलब वो एक्सपेरिमेंट बोलिया वो प्ले के जैसा लिया मैंने कि हमेशा ऑब्जेक्ट पे ध्यान रखने के बजाय जब भी मेरा ऑब्जेक्ट पे ध्यान है तो उस समय मैं अपने आप को अवेयर करता हूँ और मैं सब्जेक्ट पे ध्यान दे रहा हूँ, रेस्पिरेशन पे ध्यान दे रहा हूँ। तो वो भी एक शॉर्ट प्रोसेस जैसी हो गई।
करेक्ट।
कि जैसे हमेशा वो डेस्टिनेशन पे ख्याल देने के बजाय जर्नी शुरू करने वाला है, मतलब जो जर्नी कर रहा है उस पर ध्यान दो।
करेक्ट।
तो ये सब चीजें है, ये आपकी वजह से यही है और मेरे दिमाग में आने का और यहाँ तक आने का ये ओपन डोर का ही है। तो ऐसे तो नहीं कि ओपन डोर पे 1.5 साल से एक ही बात हो।
करेक्ट करेक्ट करेक्ट।
एक बात हो गई, सारी दुनिया भर की बातें हो गई।
दुनिया भर की बातें अलग अलग तरीके से हो रही है भाई। एक्चुअली यू आर राइट, यू आर एब्सोल्युटली राइट। बात एक है लेकिन बात एक कभी हो नहीं सकती, अलग अलग है, अलग है। और क्योंकि हर पल अलग है, हम हमेशा अलग है। यस एवरी
इतना रीच किया है तो ओपन ने कि मैं बता नहीं सकता। मतलब 20-25 साल से जो कर रहा हूँ तो 1-1.5 साल में मुझे बहुत ज्यादा रीच हुआ, मतलब बहुत समझा हुआ या थोड़ा सा डेप में गया हुआ है या इम्प्लीमेंट करते हुए आसानी हो रही है, मेरे बीइंग में आ रहा है एक्सपीरियंस। तो ये तो ओपन ड्यूटी है। वो बात अलग है कि ज्यादा लोगों तक नहीं पहुंच पा रही वो, लेकिन तो अल्टीमेट।
हाँ यही मैं सोच रहा हूँ कि ज़्यादा लोगों को क्यों नहीं पहुँचा पा रहे हैं हम। What can we do to reach more people? Because this is what the world needs. This understand.
एक बुक पढ़ रही थी, I was just reading a book. So I read कि जो हम सीख रहे हैं, less than 1% in this world actually have interest in that.
Yeah.
So पहुंचना बहुत मुश्किल है, but रुकना नहीं है।
Right. But ठीक है तो okay 1% ले लेते हैं, 7 billion people on the planet. Let's say so 10% would be 0.7 billion, 1% would be 0.07 billion, so 70 million. ओके 70 मिलियन लोगों को तो इंटरेस्ट है यार, यहाँ तो हम 9, 10, 12 है।
हेलो जी, नो कैलकुलेशन, जो मिला वो फैमिली, बढ़ते जाओ बस।
और संजीव जी,
no that's fine, that is fine, but see if we want to make an impact on the world, if we want to change, decrease the level of suffering on the planet, if we want to awaken more and more people so that we don't end up opening the newspaper and hear about children dying unnecessarily in Ukraine or wherever, if we don't want to see that, then the numbers are important. I mean, we are all fine, we are okay, we have reasonably comfortable lifestyles, we have enough, at least in the moment, we are grateful for so many things and we have access to so much knowledge. But what about the ones who don't? This is where the rub is, that how do we reach the people who don't have this access? And 70 million तो interested है, और 70 million अगर interested है और वो अगर इंटरेस्ट लेने लगेंगे तो 70 के आसपास के भी लोग होंगे जो इंटरेस्ट उनमें भी जाग जाएगा इन 70 मिलियन को देखकर, तो 140 मिलियन होंगे, एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा। तो
ट्रैवल करना पड़ता है।
wait, who is tapping? Please do not tap, there's some noise. Okay. So yeah, well, I mean, it's just, but anyway, going back to the not changing thing, actually there is no such thing as it is the same thing to the same people. There's a story, a one-line story, actually interesting. A man is taking a bath in a river, okay, and the man takes 3 dips in the river. So if you think about this sentence, it seems to be logical and plausible, and yeah, the man takes 3 dips in the river, and the assumption is, see, when you say the river, means we are talking about the same river. He's not taking 3 dips in 3 different rivers, he's taking a dip in the same river. So when we say the river, we are talking about that river, that it is that same river. He took 3 dips in the river. But is it the same river? The water is flowing, the continuously changing, continuously it is a different. So when he takes the first dip, by the time he takes the second dip, the entire water that was there in that first dip is already flown. This is new water, different water, with a different characteristics, different wave, different whatever, with different uh, amounts of whatever other life forms are there in the river. So by the time the second dip happens, it is not the same river. And certainly by the time the third dip happens again, it is not the same river as the second. So we cannot say the man took 3 dips in the river. What about the first part of the sentence? The man took a dip. The man is also changing. Between one dip and the next dip, it is not the same man. We are continuously in a state of change. Our minds are changing, our thoughts are changing, our feelings are changing, our understanding is changing, our body is changing continuously. In 7 years, they say every cell in your body is new. Every single cell with a 7-year cycle, if you start, continuously cells die and they are replaced by newborn cells. The dead cells are discarded, new cells are created, and continuously this is going on. And in 7 years, not a single cell that was there in your body before 7 years is present. So every moment, the body is changing. Feelings are changing, thoughts are changing. So how can we say it is the same man? So you cannot even say the man took 3 dips in the river. So, because it is a different man. Every time the first dip, the man is different. The second dip, the man is different. Third dip, man is different. But we take this change, we don't see the change, we are not aware of the change, and we just think that we are the same. So we are not the same. So yes, even though I said it is the same topic by the same person to the same people, it is absolutely a false statement. A different person is saying different things to different people. Right. And yet, within all this changing phenomenon, within all this change, there is something present which is not changing, which has always been present, which has always been present in this space, no matter who shows up or who doesn't show up, no matter what is said or what is not said, no matter what is experienced or what is not experienced, there is something that is not changing. And that which is not changing is that which is experiencing all of this, the changeless, formless awareness, which is experiencing these words, which is experiencing your thoughts, which is experiencing your feelings. That experiencer, the experiencer does not change. And that is the one thing which is not changing. And that is the whole quest of this entire journey, is to discover that, to be with that, to understand that, and to live from that one unifying, unchanging, undying, pristine, infinite awareness, which is the true self, the true being, the true you, the true I. So yeah, while science can tell us a lot about how things happen and why things happen, science can only tell us that. Science can tell us how a plant gets nutrition and how it converts sunlight and energy and water into oxygen, for example. It can tell us how things move, how they are, why they are. We can explain behavior, we can explain the physical reality, how the earth moves around the sun. So it can explain a lot about the how and the how, when, and why of reality. The how, when, and why science can tell us a lot about. And of course, it cannot tell us everything yet. It can tell us a few things. But the one thing it cannot tell us is what. What is it? What is all this? How it works, how people are, how people behave, why they behave a certain way, why they say things, what they do, how they do it, etc. We can learn, we can understand through science. But science will never be able to tell us the what. What is this? What is life? What is this experience called reality? That we only have to know directly. Directly being that, knowing that, understanding that. And then out of the knowing of that, starting to live that which we understand of the true nature of reality. What is the nature of reality rather than how does reality operate is a deeper, more fundamental question. ये क्या हो रहा है? There's a dialogue in one movie, I think. ये क्या हो रहा है? Somewhere, I forget the name of the movie, some comedian. ये क्या हो रहा है? And yeah, which one is it?
That was serial.
It's a serial, is it?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I've seen it somewhere. ये क्या हो रहा है?
Tinku Sultania.
Yeah. I think you're right. You're on mute.
Who, Purushottam ji?
Tinu, what, Sultania? Some Sultania.
Ah, ये क्या हो?
ये क्या हो रहा है? ये क्या हो रहा है?
टोन में बोलता है वो.
Sorry?
एक टिपिकल टोन में बोलता है वो.
हाँ, टिपिकल टोन में वो बोलता है, ये क्या हो रहा है? But he doesn't realize that it is one of the most profound questions of the universe. It is. He thinks it's just a joke, and most people who are normally hearing it, Tiku Sultan, Talsania, Tiku Talsania. You're right, Himanshu. Tiku Talsania. Yeah. So he just says it in fun, and people who hear it also think it's just fun. The audience also thinks it is fun. But truly, it is one of the most profound questions of reality, of life. Ye kya ho raha hai? What is all this going on? This dream called life, what is it? And while it is infinite and ultimately indescribable, one thing we can understand that there is, in whatever is happening, there is one part which is the changing part, and there's another part which is not changing. And if you want to know what it is really, then it can only be the part that is not changing. If I want to know the essence of anything, I have to discard whatever keeps on changing. It cannot be the essence. So if I want to know the essence of reality, what is this reality? I have to discard whatever is changing. So circumstances change, people change, objects change, thoughts change, feelings change. So that cannot be the essence of what this is. That cannot be the truth. We want to discover truth. Science can only point the way, little bit take us, take us maximum, ask us to come out of the house and go explore. Science उतना तक ही ले जा सकता है. But to walk the path, we must explore what it is directly. And the way to do that is to look for what is the essence of whatever it is. So we discard everything that can be discarded because it is changing, changing, changing. People, life, circumstances, objects, scenery, life forms, the planet, anything that can be experienced is changing. And it cannot be the actual reality or the essence of what it is. So after we have discarded everything that can be discarded, whatever remains after that, which cannot be discarded, we arrive at the essence of what it is. And what is it that cannot be discarded? We can discard everything except the one who is doing the discarding. The one who is doing the discarding cannot be discarded. Because what will be there to do that discarding? There is nothing there to do the discarding. The one who is doing this discarding, the subject, the experiencer of all that there is all that remains. And has to be, must be, is the essence of what all this is, what this is. And how do we, it is that experiencer is so close to us. It is not even close to us, it is us. When something is so close, it is difficult to see it, it is difficult to know it. And that is why we spend all our lives thinking that we don't know. We don't know divine, we don't know God, we don't know ourselves, we don't know who we are. Because it is closer than close, it is us, it is you, it is I. And why bother with all this? That is the other question. Why bother? ये चेंजिंग वाली जो चीज़ें हैं वही कितनी सारी है बाबा. लाखों चीज़ें हैं, करोड़ों लोग हैं, करोड़ों परिस्थितियां हैं. कुछ हमें, some things we like, some things we don't like, but there are a gazillion things that are there, enough to take away, keep us occupied and busy for a lifetime or many lifetimes. But why bother with this is because it is the essence of everything that there is, and it colors and diffuses and permeates everything that we experience. And once we understand its nature, then what can be the impact of it on our own lives? What impact does knowing, let's say you're having a nightmare and you are afraid, you're scared, you're running and you're sweating, you're crying, maybe you're fearful, and then suddenly you realize the essence of this nightmare, that the essence of nightmare is nothing. There is no reality to it. what impact does that knowledge have on the nightmare? वो जो बुरा सपना जो चल रहा है, अगर आपको याद आ जाता है कि ये एक सपना है, तो वो बुरा सपना, वो बुरे सपने पर क्या असर होती है ये ज्ञान की? वो सपना रहता ही नहीं, वो बुरा सपना रहता ही नहीं। आप उसी, हाँ,
हार जाता है।
हार जाता है, बिल्कुल बिल्कुल। you can start dancing and jumping and playing with this monster who was chasing you in your nightmare, because now you know it's just a dream. You can play with that same monster who was scaring you. So this is the impact we can have in our own lives. What are the monsters that are chasing you? Think about it. For some it is health, for some it is emotions, anger, disappointment, regret, rudeness, physical violence, suffering, unhappiness, sorrow, grief. ये जो जीवन का सपना चल रहा है, this dream called life, these are the monsters that are chasing us and which we try to run away from, or we fight them. But just like in the nightmare, we can fight those monsters, we can run away from those monsters. But the easiest, the direct, and the snap of a finger solution to the entire nightmare is not to fight those monsters or run away from them or be afraid of them. The one snap, one finger answer, boom, boom, 1, 2, 3 answer is, oh, this is just a dream. In an instant, every monster disappears. In an instant, every monster becomes a playmate. And the same applies to these monsters, so-called monsters of life, whether it's a person, a circumstance, a place, an object, a feeling. So if we want to say goodbye to those monsters and start playing with them, then, and not take them so seriously. We take those monsters in our nightmare seriously. That is why they are monsters. We take them seriously. Because we are always in the, oh, then what will happen? Then what will happen? Oh, then what will, if the monster catches me, then what will happen? If the monster hits me, what will happen? The monster bites me, what will happen? The monster will, then what will happen? Then what will happen? And that then what will happen question brings the sweaty palms and the racing heartbeat. But then if we remember that we ourselves created this, A, we made these monsters, and B, it is all just a dream to begin with, then we don't have to take them so seriously. And facing that question, what will happen? Then what will happen? Then what will happen? What will happen? What is the worst thing that can happen, so-called, what we are running away from? Oh, these people in my life are so mean. Oh, they are so angry. They are so egotistical. I try to do this and they have so much ego. I cannot deal with it. I'm so miserable because here I am trying to do this and they are so like this. Okay, agreed. I'm no disagreement. There's no point in trying to argue with the monster, saying that you don't exist, you are not there. The monster is going to say, I'm there, I'm there, I'm there. Yes, I'm egotistical. So what? What will happen? What will happen? Nothing will happen. And anyway, whatever happens, so then also what will happen?
जो सबका होता है वही होने वाला है, राम नाम सत्य है.
Ram Naam Satya hai bhi happens, then also what will happen? That is also not such a big deal. So this sort of simple but practical thing happened with me on this in the area of tennis again. So there are 3 divisions in our club for tennis, and all of you know that I am a tennis player. So there are 3 divisions. The A are the best players, B is medium players, C are the beginners and sort of not so good players. And all the A players play with A players, B players play with B players, and C like that. So it's a balanced game, and we have 3 courts, A, B, C. So for many years, I used to be in the A courts. I was an A player, and of course playing with the A players. And then somebody from B challenged me and won, and I was moved into B division, and that person went into A. And then the only way for me to get back to A would be to challenge somebody in A and win. If I win, then I go back into A. So first of all, I'm already the oldest player in A. All the A players are mostly much younger than I am. And and so many years I survived in A. Most people think that by the time you are my age, you cannot play in A anymore because you cannot stand up to these younger guys. But I was determined to go into A somehow. So this happened sometime in I think January, that I became into B. So then I kept challenging people and I kept losing. so so it became a little bit of a, you know, ये क्या संजीव आप इतना कोशिश कर रहे, नहीं हो रहा है, छोड़ दो ना. But I was totally determined. I cannot leave this. I have to be back in A, and age is just a number and whatever. And then I thought about this, and that, you know what used to happen? These were players who were not as good players as me, and yet I was losing to them. That was the most interesting part, and that's what kept me going back. I said, अरे ये मेरे से इतना तो अच्छा खेलता नहीं है, मैं आराम से हरा सकता हूँ, मैच में क्यों हार जाता हूँ? So then I realized this same game was being played in my mind. Then what will happen? If I lose, then what will happen? So my immediate fear was, oh, if I lose, then I will stay in B. And I wasn't going to go beyond that, wasn't willing to go to the next question. If I stay in B, then what will happen? What? I'll stay in B. And then what will happen? Nothing. What will happen? Nothing will happen. So this understanding came to me some point last week, that it applies everywhere, and of course it applies to tennis also. So I decided to challenge another guy, 23 years younger than me. Okay, 23 years younger than me. I challenged him, and so the match happened on Monday. The Monday means yesterday. Yesterday this match happened, and from the beginning of the game itself, I am decided that, अरे हार गए तो हार गए, what will happen? I'll stay in B, no big deal. First game I won, second game I won, third game I won, fourth game I won, then he won one. And before I knew it, the score was 7-1, which is all I needed to win the match. And so yesterday I won the match, and I'm back in A today. I've walked into A court. The most senior A court player in the, so I was so happy to do that. But point is that this is the kind of things that holds us back. And this is in my case, it was this tennis game, whatever. Everyone will have their own monsters. For me, this was the monster. How can a player who is not as good as me keep on winning against me? So whatever your monsters are, just turn around and ask them, so what? So what will happen? And you find that the unchanging, the undying, the eternal, the powerful, divine that you are, to that, actually nothing can happen. Nothing can happen because it is not a thing to begin with. It is not part of the universe of things. Things can happen only to things, and you are not a thing. This is our title. Things can only happen to things. So, and you are not a thing. Sorry?
The title is also You Are Not a Thing included. Itna lamba title.
I don't know. Let's see. But isn't what all ego, Anamika?
That winning, that thinking that I will lose or I will win. I feel
Yeah,
it's
ego
not-
means it is this form. It is this separate. See, ego has got a bad rep. There's nothing wrong with ego. The sense of separateness, the sense of being an individual, is what creates this experience called life. If we were not separate individual forms, separated from this universal oneness, then it's just one big soup of nothing, where there is no experience of itself, of life, of love, of truth, of beauty, nothing. We have taken on these separate, condensed, coalesced forms so that we can experience and live and play this game. And that separateness is required. That separation is required for this game called life to happen. And that is another word for ego. It's the separate self. There's nothing inherently wrong with being this separate self or an ego. You need to operate from the separateness in order to play this game called life. So, but the thing is not to get caught in that, not to know that you're not really that you've taken on this role. It is like the actor coming off the set and still thinking he is that King Akbar or whatever he's playing in the movie. If the actor in the whatever Taj Mahal movie forgets that he's not Shah Jahan, that's where the trouble is. The trouble is not with him being Shah Jahan. That ego, that separate self is required for that movie, the story to happen. So, but if that Shah Jahan actor knows that he's only actually the actor and not really Shah Jahan, then he's able to live that story, be that story, fully engage in that story without getting caught up in the story. He can experience the grief of losing Mumtaz or whatever that particular character suffered or experienced, but he need not suffer from it because he knows that, hey, this is just a this is just a it's not really my wife who has died or anything like that. He knows it, and therefore he can experience the tears and experience the sorrow without suffering. So, and this rediscovery, this hide and seek rediscovery, that's the whole game. So forgetting is, you cannot remember unless you forget. The joy of remembering can only be experienced by the condition of forgetting. Forgetting is needed in order for remembering to happen. So this remembering, if I never forgot that, if I never took on this separateness and never worried about being in A or B or C or D or whatever, there is no tennis, there is no game, and there is definitely no remembering called, oh my God, nothing will really happen if I stay in B. That remembering could never happen unless I forget. So there's nothing wrong with forgetting. There's nothing wrong with ego per se. But if I never remember and I continuously suffer, then we have missed something. So, and this is actually um, the um, the reason why only 1% of the population is interested in this. The reason they are not all interested in this is because we have given this false impression that spirituality means we are saying, हाँ ये संसार तो कुछ नहीं है, ये संसार व्यर्थ है, ये संसार बेकार है, इससे हट जाओ, इससे निकल जाओ, इसको छोड़ दो. This is the misinformation. So by saying that it is nothing, it is all just ego, it is all just that, what we are saying is we are propagating this disinformation that we have to disengage from the world, that we are something greater. Yes, we are something greater, but not right now. Right now, I'm in this play, in this game, in this thing called life, playing this role. And yes, ultimately, I am that. But this is not the time to just leave it and say, okay, done. It is all just ego. Ye sab maya hai, chhod do. This is what keeps 99% of the people away from spirituality. Because 99% of them are sane. अक्ल है उसमें. What do you mean ये संसार छोड़ दो, भूल जाओ इसे? From multiple angles. एक तो ये संसार इतना so wonderful, so full of colors, so full of sound, so full of beauty, so full of love, so full of experiences. इसको तुम छोड़ना चाहते हो? क्यों? So first of all, it is not true that it is, yes, it is Maya, but it's a beautiful dream. How can you make this dream more beautiful? Is a more vital question than resigning and saying, "Ye Maya hi chhod do." How can we make this dream beautiful for ourselves, for our families, for the world? That's the question, and that is the question that spirituality is wanting to and able to answer better than any other thing. And that is what people need to understand, that spirituality is not about leaving the world. It is about leaving the world better than it was. That's what spirituality is. And it's not just any other world, your own immediate world, also better than it was. So when people understand this, then it would be hard for you to find one human being who is not interested in it. It is because they don't understand what it is why 99% are not interested. So we need to bring the true picture of what is spirituality to the world. And not just 7 million, but 7 billion are interested. Because who doesn't want to be happy? Yeah, living your own world, Sonal says, in better way than, living your own world and leaving your world better than it was. Both. That song is है ना, संसार से भागे फिरते हो, भगवान को तुम क्या पाओगे, इस लोक को भी अपना न सके, उस लोक को तुम क्या पाओगे. तो ये लोक को भी अपनाना है. You remember this song? You heard it? From Chitralekha, I think. संसार से भागे फिरते हो, भगवान को तुम क्या पाओगे, इस लोक को भी अपना ना सके, उस लोक को तुम क्या पाओगे. So dismissing this world as Maya, dismissing the separate self, oh, is just ego, is is the misinformation that we want to withdraw from the world and bring the true picture, that it is about re-engaging. It is about re-engaging with the world in a way that makes our lives richer, better, more interesting, more powerful, more loving, more happy. Yeah. Great. So wonderful.
More
Meeta,
sharing and caring.
more sharing and caring. Absolutely. So Meeta, any questions from you? Because for you, this may be new, or it may, at least it is new coming from this direct path, what we call. Any thoughts, questions, comments?
Actually, I'm really liking this topic, and I won't say I'm totally spiritual, but I would love to go towards the path of spiritual to understand the real meaning of life, the existence of myself on this universe.
Sure. Yeah. Wonderful. And yeah, so when you say I'm not totally spiritual, actually, there is no such thing. We are all the same. We
Spiritual
are
beings
all,
in human form.
right, we're all spiritual beings in human form. And this human form is also spiritual. The reality of you and me is ultimately the same: awareness, consciousness, divine. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I hear you when you say maybe you have not experienced many things along in this particular way, and certainly it is available. So there are a lot more videos also on the YouTube channel. You can browse through. There are more, almost 200 videos on different topics, but all talking about the same thing. So whatever strikes your fancy, you can view them and understand all this deeper and deeper, and bring more and more love and joy to your own life and to everyone around. Wonderful. Great. Thank you. See you all on
Thank you so
next
much.
time. Thank you. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev.
Jai
Superb.
Gurudev. Jai Gurudev.
Thank you.
Super.
Thank you.
Chalo.
Yeah.
Bye and namaste to everyone.